Here we are taking a quick look at starting with oData. Up on the screen currently is Microsoft PowerPoint up and running in what I call the cheesy presentation mode, basically the design surface here, and we'll just be taking it one additional slide, but I think reinforces the point for introductory purposes. We won't be spending a whole lot of time here and very simply moving in quickly to a functional demonstration. But still on the thought of getting started, what is oData? It's an open protocol for data exchange. The website is oData.org, and it's a great starting point for the deep dive into additional resources about the protocol, client application, implementation ideas, so on and so forth. Just simply a great resource. But how is oData valuable? Well, it's extremely useful for internal and external data access. So in cases where you internally want to deploy a tool that gives people, I think, better, broader access to the data, but you also have external organizations, partners, people that are not part of the central headquarters that you want to give the same or even better access to data than they have today. This is one of the great bits of technology and tools to go ahead and begin working with. On that note, it certainly provides robust access and security. Again, going back to the point of being a web protocol, things that you're normally used to in web environments, such as security appliances, HTTPS, SSL, all the suite of technologies that are used to build secure services is available here as part of the protocol definition in many of the oData implementations. Just as well too, the last point here, modern integration points. I think that really speaks towards the client applications. So our next demonstration that we'll be quickly moving into is Microsoft Excel and how they've integrated oData with their Power Pivot technology. You also have other client tools such as Tableau, and I think you can pretty much almost pick any BI product on the market and they're going to offer some form of an oData integration. First, let's go ahead and look real quick at this one item here. I'm actually going to bring up Internet Explorer, and we'll actually take a look at the oData feed that we'll go ahead and be accessing. It's being accessed across the internet at services.odata.org and the Northwind data service. So when we go ahead and just go into Excel here in just a moment, we'll actually be connecting across the internet in real time to this data service that's publicly up and running with some information that comes from, I think it's Microsoft's traditionally offered Northwind database as kind of a testing database. What you're looking at on the screen here is kind of the main top-level service descriptor of the oData service. It contains all the different categories, if you will, or data entities of information that is available from the service. So we have categories themselves, customer demographics, customers, employees, order details, orders, products, regions, shippers, suppliers, territories, and so on and so forth. You can see the scroll bar goes down quite a ways. And if you're curious, you can certainly load the feed up and begin taking a look at it. But now let's go ahead and actually jump right into Excel. Here we have a plain workbook that is open. The ribbon is currently set to the Power Pivot tab, and we'll be using Power Pivot to go ahead and load in the data that we'll be working with and putting together some basic queries. So let me go ahead and open the actual Power Pivot window here, and we'll take a look at the interface that it gives us. Again, another ribbon, but I think the main thing that the eye really draws towards initially here is getting of the external data. And certainly using this tool, you can go from another database, from a report. They offer a data market, so on and so forth, other feeds, but mainly the item that we're interested in here is from data feeds. Now I'll go ahead and click on that and bring it into full scope of the recording window here. We can enter feed URLs, and in this case I've already tested out the Northwind data service, so we'll go ahead and load this in here, and we'll click our next button. Okay, and with just a blink of the eye, it's gone ahead and actually given us that same listing of categories that we saw before, so you can see kind of the full long list that appears here within this nice data grid. So I'll just select a little bit of data. Let me see, I've got customers, and let me also choose invoices. As well, we can also give it in this column the opportunity to give a friendly name, and then also do some additional filtering if we wanted to. But we'll just go ahead and bring the data in kind of in real time, the full data set. As well, you can do some previewing and filtering with this button down here, but we'll go ahead and click on the Finish button. Okay, and within the blink of the eye, it's gone ahead and transferred our data. So we have our customers' data and our invoices data. It's transferred in 91 rows and then also transferred in 2,155 rows. Alright, we've clicked on close, so now we can go ahead and take a look on this screen here. You notice kind of this grid view has come into the main focal point of the interface. We have a tab set down here for customers and invoices, so kind of where I'm circling the mouse cursor right here in the center, we can go ahead and see all of the different columns as it relates to the customer data. And then as well too, we can also see it switch over to the actual invoice data. If we were connecting to another data source, such as something maybe a little more internal, we could look at payments, GL, other accounting information. I think is really one of the great use cases here. Membership data, really anything that you're kind of looking for, we can bring into this interface here. Let's go ahead and actually tailor the interface here just a little bit. It also gives us a diagram view where we can take a look at these entities themselves. So let me go ahead and actually just expand this down just a little bit here, and you can take a look at all the different field properties. Went a little too far here. And when doing that, you can see, again, all the different fields that are here. One of the things that this interface also lets us do is go ahead and set up relationships between the data, which are extremely powerful. In fact, you can kind of see here within this data set, we have a customer ID under the customers, and then also as well customer ID under the invoices. So this interface would allow us to do a drag and drop and say, hey, customers relates to invoices based upon these two values. And you can go ahead and, again, multiple different ways to set up the relationships. Not going to go into detail here, but I will go into some of the relationship features that kind of the main Excel interface goes ahead and gives to us. But it's important to note that you can define complex hierarchies, relationships using this kind of design tool that we go ahead and see here. So I am going to go ahead and actually create a pivot table within the Excel workbook that we're from. I'll just go and load it onto the existing sheet right out here in the first column, and you can see the basic interface that goes ahead and comes up. We have our pivot table interface over here, kind of the main data area to the left, and then over to the right we have our Power Pivot field list, and then the opportunity to set slicers and filters and row labels and values and so on and so on and so forth. So let's just do some extremely simple basic work with this. Let's actually collapse down our customers, and let's go ahead and grab that ID. Let's see here. What would be the best place to go ahead and do this here? We'll go ahead and actually we'll take customer ID and we'll just drop it down here into the values, and we can see down here what it has shown us directly over on the left-hand side. It says that there is a count of 2,155 customer IDs. So that's good, nice information to know. But let's say we want to know a little bit more about who those customers are. We can go back over here and take a look at the customer information. So let's grab, let's go ahead and take a look at city. So let's go ahead and actually put that on our row labels. So what we've gone and seen here, it's gone ahead and actually taken that information, and we can see the actual row labels that appear over here on the left-hand side, and all the different city values that appear. Well, the count of customer ID is not quite what we would expect to see here, but the eye actually gives us a little bit of alert. If our eye drifts back over here to the right-hand side, it says, hey, a relationship may be needed. So this is kind of where I'm jumping across to a little bit of other functionality to show the relationship perspective. Let's go ahead and click the Create button. The application does its work, and if you read the documentation and deep dive in, it's very conservative about how it creates relationships. But you can see it does a nice job with this. So let's go ahead and close here. And our numbers have changed. So the count of customer ID that is coming from our invoices, we can see that 71 of those come from Albuquerque, 12 from Berlin, let's see here, Caracas, we've got 4, so on and so forth. So it's a really nice way to grab data across the wire from a service, load it into a client application, and do the simplest of slice and dice operations. Let's say, actually though, we want to go ahead and take a look at who some of these people are. We can actually go ahead and click on this particular cell right here, and we can do this nice operation called Show Details. Once we go ahead and do that, you can see how we've actually switched over into Sheet 4 and gotten an additional grid view that shows us the actual detail records for those people. So I'll go out here, I'll kind of jump out here into kind of a broader view, but you can again see that this customer, Nancy, and then Margaret, and then Janet, and then Andrew, so on and so forth, these are the actual invoice records that go ahead and appear from our source data. So again, kind of from the slice and dice perspective to opening that actual cell back up, and again kind of just do a little A and B ham and eggs, 71 records here, and then we have Scroll down here. 74. Mind you, we got 3 records at the top of the spreadsheet for kind of our header. But these are the actual records from our slice and dice operation. At this point, everything is just plain and straightforward Excel. So if we want to go ahead and select a bunch of records, I've selected 23 records. We have all standard Excel functionality with us at this point. But again, not to be too repetitive, I think it does a great job of highlighting how we go ahead and have a data service up and running that is connected to source data systems, the opportunity via the Power Pivot tool to go ahead and select and gather multiple data sources, bring them together within one client application and interface, go ahead and have advanced functionality such as defining relationships between the data. In the case that we looked at here, the tool is actually doing it for us, and then going ahead and doing, again, the most common slice and dice operations that gives us the useful functionality of our data that we're going ahead and looking for. So again, Microsoft, or I should say oData, the implementation that we're looking at is coming from Microsoft, and if there are any questions, certainly please feel free to leave a comment or send an email. Take care and have a great day.